Hello, this is Zach from MyCodeTeacher.com, here to bring you a nice and easy tutorial on NS Mutable Array. What we're going to do with this NS Mutable Array today is we're going to be inserting objects and removing objects, and we're also going to be pulling a random object out of the array. Our objects going to be inserted into the NS Mutable Array are going to be NS strings, just basic text, so that on our iPhone screen we can use a button to generate a random string of text. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go to Xcode here. We're going to click on File, New Project. This is going to be a view-based application, but we're going to call this NS Mutable Array. Alright, so like always, in our classes folder, we have our app delegate and our view controller. And in our resources folder, we have a nib file for our view controller view and the main window. So let's go ahead and open up our view controller window here, and we're going to insert a string of text here, and we're going to also insert a button. Let's title this button Push for Random Text, and that's going to be our interface for today. So let's go in our NS Mutable Array view controller header, and we're going to make an IB outlet for our label. So let's go ahead and type in IB outlet. It's going to be a UI label, and we're going to just call this random text. Now we're also going to need a method, so when we push our button, it's going to pull the random string of text out from the array and set the random text UI label to whatever it pulls out of the NS Mutable Array. So let's go ahead and call this IB action, and we're going to call this set random text. Okay, now before we get started with our code, we need to make sure we import the standard library, and this is going to allow us to use the rand function. And one more thing before we get started, we need to create our NS Mutable Array right here, and we're just going to call this all text. Let's go ahead and save, and now in our .m file, we need to use the method viewDidLoad to initialize. ViewDidLoad, and we're going to go ahead and initialize our NS Mutable Array right here. Now for those of you who don't know the difference between an NS Mutable Array and an NS Array, the NS Mutable Array makes it easier to manage our modifiable array of objects. So what makes it really convenient is that we can insert new objects and we can remove objects without corrupting our array. It basically makes methods. Apple has made methods for us to do this nice and easily. We can replace an object at a specific index, we can remove an object at an index, we can insert new objects at the end, at the beginning. It's very convenient. So we're going to go ahead and use this, and what we're going to do is we're going to initialize our array by calling all text NS Mutable Array allocate, then we need to initialize it. Got a left bracket right there. So we've now initialized our all text array. What we need to do now is we need to add objects to our immutable array. So what we're going to do is we're going to call all text and the method add object, and we just simply put in the object here. Now by doing the @ sign and two quotes, any text in between here, this is automatically an NS string object. So we're going to go ahead and, well, let's think of this like, for example, a magic 8-ball. When you shake a magic 8-ball, the text will appear randomly. So we're just going to go ahead and insert funny little text things like a magic 8-ball would have. So we'll just go ahead and say yes. We'll insert another object. And actually we'll do a couple. So we'll say yes, no, maybe, definitely, doubtful, and most likely. Okay, so we've now inserted 6 objects into our NS Mutable Array, and what we're going to want to do is when we click our IB action connected to our button, which I believe we called set random text, we're going to pull a random object out of this array and display it to the UI label. So let's go ahead and do that. we're going to create our method here. It was an IB action, and we called it setRandomText. And what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to declare an NS string. We'll just call this text, and we're going to set that equal to our array all text object at index. Now we can use the rand function, which is rand, two parentheses, left and right, and modulus. And now for those of you who don't know what a modulus is a percent sign operator which is used between two numbers. Basically the numerator and the denominator. It's basically dividing two numbers and returning the remainder. So for example, if I do 5 divided by 4, it'll return 1. If I do 2 divided by 2, it'll return 0. If I do 2 divided by 1, it'll return 1, etc. So let's go ahead and make this modulus by all text and then count. End our parenthesis and end the method. Now what's going to happen here is modulus will return any number between 0 and the number that you're modifying by -1. So for example, let's say we have any number here and we're going to mod this by 7. The return value could be anywhere between 0 and 6. So this actually works very well with our arrays. So we have now called our NSString text and we've pulled out a random object of our array. So now all we need to do is set our text. So random text, set text, and text. Let's go ahead and save. Now we need to connect our outlets. So if we go back to Interface Builder and click on Files Owner, we'll see our random text in the outlets. So let's go ahead and put that to our label, and we're going to set the random text received action to our button with the event of touch up inside. So now go ahead and save, and we should be able to build and go with no problems. Now let's go ahead and push for random text, and there you have it. Now it's a little ugly in the user interface here, so let's just go ahead and make our label a little bit larger here. Use the command and the plus sign to make this a little bit larger. Command Shift plus. Alright, and we'll go ahead and center it here. Go back and save. We'll go to build and go, and there you have it. Pulls a random object out of the array and displays the random text. It's actually a really simple concept and very useful actually for a lot of applications. This is going to conclude my tutorial on using the NS mutable array with the random function. My name is Zach from mycodeteacher.com. I'll see you next time.